Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to our live webinar of eIMMIGRATION. On behalf of Cerenade, my name is Vanessa Vargas, and I thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to have a basic training for new users, and we have received emails with questions. I will go over them. I see some of you who have sent the emails are here, so I'll make sure that I respond to your questions. So thank you so much for sending those. Today also, um, we share the PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to be using today, and please download it because it has links that you can click on, and that way you can share with your team as well as share the video. We're going to eventually upload it to our YouTube channel. It's called Cerenade Academy. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. This is where we upload videos such as, the extractor video, recent new features that we released. We want you to be aware, and that's exactly why you should be subscribing to the channel so that you are in the loop. Okay. And also, we have a chat where you can send me your questions throughout the session, so you can ask questions at any time. And lastly, this is being recorded. So I want you to just relax, try to learn as much as you can, but don't stress about taking notes or anything because, again, you can download my PowerPoint presentation and you can watch the video later. Okay? All right, so let's begin. Today, as I said, we have a basic training for new users, but I know some of you have very specific questions that are not basic, or you're not a new user. So it's okay. You can always submit them through the chat. Okay? All right, so if you're new and you're using the system for the first time, we do have 3 basic steps, and we normally show them because it's the best practice to use the system in that order, like creating the contact, linking the members, and then creating the case. And of course, I'm going to show you how the forms auto-populate and how to gather data through the questionnaires or enter data via the alternate view. I'm also going to show you the tools under the forms and how to send those to clients for reviewing purposes, how to create notes, we call them logs, the document section and how to gather and store them, and how you can share a checklist, how to use a letter templates, how to prepare a package with the document assembly, and lastly, how to create reminders, use the process steps, and use a tickler. I know it seems a lot. We're going to take it one step at a time. I always say that, one step at a time. And so let's begin. When you got your site ready, you received a link that should take you to your caseworker portal. But I want you to know that if you have access to the administrator portal, it's over here on the right-hand side. If you look at the settings icon, the gear on the top right corner, you should see administrative tools. If this is the first time that you use the system, it's important that you customize it. In fact, you get a training. If you haven't scheduled your training, I recommend that you do. It's very important that you review the email that your sales rep sent to you because it has instructions that you need to follow in order for the system to work properly. Hi, happy Friday. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited it's Friday. It's been a very hectic week for us. It's a good thing. We're very, very busy. Okay. So yeah, make sure that you guys customize the admin side of it, your department, processes, all of these areas. And again, you get a private training for your office. I'm going to leave it here in case you guys have questions about customization so we can come back to the admin. So the main window, oops, what did I do? Oh, here we go. So the main window is the caseworker portal. Okay. And the first step is to create right here on the left, click create client contact. It's going to take you to this window where you enter either prospect account, or it could be already an active client. It could be an individual or business client. So this is where you start by creating a new contact. So think of it like a container or a recipient, like where are you going to store the data? You have to create a contact. Okay. Each entity has to have a contact. It could be the signatory for an employer, the applicant, or a family member for the individual client, the petitioner, the beneficiary, the children, all of those. Each entity has a contact. Okay, we're going to see that right now when we create the members. So we start by creating the contact. Now, this is if you want to do it manually. I also want you to notice that the system is auto-generating my client number. And if you want to do that, remember, go into the administrator portal under the application settings. You're going to see a lot of these settings that I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go through these. And if you don't know, you can ask us right here. Technical support. Hey, what is this for? Please do that. You're going to see the benefit. For example, allowing or enabling this, you can use e-signature, kind of like DocuSign, or enabling this one auto converts pictures like JPEGs or anything into PDF automatically. So trust me when I tell you this, it's a game changer when you have a little box checked and you don't have to keep checking what's the next case number. The system will auto generate the case numbers for you, things like that. Okay, so these are the settings that you can choose under the administrator portal. All right, let's go back. Now, if you want to create a contact manually, this is how you do it. You again click on create, client contact, enter the details. Okay. What if you want to put a link on your website or your social media page? Then I suggest that you click on create questionnaire and then you choose anonymous questionnaire. Okay. This is if you want to create a hyperlink for your website or social media, or if you want to send like a bulk email. When you add an anonymous questionnaire, you're going to select the name of the questionnaire. It could be welcome. It could be, I don't know, like maybe I have Starbucks as a client and we're doing H1Bs for Starbucks. So I'm not going to create individual accounts for all these applicants. I'm just going to send them a link and have them create their own account, their own contact profile. But it's the same thing for family-based cases. You know, hey, we're doing DACAs, we're doing asylum cases. It really works out great for nonprofit organizations too, so that if you have, let's say, we're doing, I don't know, it could be removal defense, consular processing, but let me say asylum cases, asylum prospects. All right, so who's going to be assigned to these asylum prospects? I'll say Kevin. And each account that gets created through this link is going to be a prospect. We want this link to expire maybe after a year. I'll just say December 31st. And what questionnaire do I want these prospects to utilize? Let's just say asylum, where is it? Asylum intake form. I can preview it too. So it looks like this one is available in these languages, and I'm asking for just basic information. But I could use maybe this one, basic initial questionnaire, or I mean, you can customize your own questionnaires, and that's something you do from the administrator portal. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend that you select, I'm just going to use that basic initial questionnaire and click save. Now notice that we have message templates, which means that when they get an email from us, they can proceed to log in into their client portal. Or maybe I want to change this draft and say something like, you know, thank you for your interest in this program, or we're going to get back to you for a consultation. I don't know, whatever you guys want to use for your template, so you don't have to retype the same message over and over and over again. The idea is that if you use the anonymous questionnaire, each prospect or potential client can click on that link from your Facebook account or your website account, and they can translate the questions, enter their own first and last name, phone, or email, and proceed after they verify their identity for security reasons, of course. But they're gonna get access to the questionnaire right away after they enter the code. So it saves you time and saves them time because they don't have to wait until you take the phone call, create the account or contact profile manually for them. So I think it's a win-win. So, you know, test it, see if it works for you. But I highly recommend, especially for solo practitioners. And I was saying for nonprofit organizations because I know that some of you guys have like workshops, maybe where you have, volunteers that maybe use their devices like a cell phone or tablets without necessarily giving them access to the caseworker portal, right? So they can assist you or help you um, completing those anonymous questionnaires. Okay, so that's pretty much step number one. Create the contact or use that link. And let me open one. Let's say Maria Guzman. So I have Maria's profile, and I could type information here manually and then just save it. Or I could also use the alternate view. If you notice on the right hand side, alternate view is where you access these questionnaires. Remember the asylum intake form? Well, it's right here. Maria, what's your name? Is this the first time that you contact us? What's your spouse's information? I mean, as you can see, I can complete the information here. Let's say he was born in Vegas and then Nevada. I'm just adding information via the alternate view, and then I'll just click save. And whatever information I entered and I saved via the alternate view, it's going to be stored already in his profile. So Rodrigo, the husband, now shows that he was born in Nevada. All right, so I hope that also makes sense and helps you. I get it. Not everyone's going to be tech savvy, right? If you have a client or prospect who's not tech savvy and you can't really expect them to complete a questionnaire, but you're the one who's helping them capture the data, then I highly recommend that you use the alternate view. Okay. All right. Let me see if you guys have any questions at this point. How many of you are new users versus existing users? All right. So I'm just going to proceed because we've got, oh my God, look at that. The majority of you are actually existing users, not even though when you register, I saw a lot of you saying, I'm new, I'm new. Awesome. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're here, regardless if you're new or not, because there's always something new to learn, right? All right, so let's continue. We talked about creating the contact or using the anonymous questionnaire and then entering data into all of these fields. Don't forget to save your changes. And on the right-hand side, you can obviously find other areas. I want you to notice that we have this copy slash move. I have information. So let's say if I have linked the husband or the son and he has address information here, although I don't really have. Okay, let me say, okay, let me go back to Maria. Okay, Maria's address is this 123 Test Avenue in Los Angeles, but it turns out that it's the same address as the husband, the US resident address. So I'm going to save it here, go to his profile, Rodrigo is the husband, and then I click copy from Maria. But I don't click on her name, I click on select. So now I don't have to retype this information. Now it's the same thing for the history of the previous addresses. And so I can add a previous address. Let's say that they have lived in this TGI street, right? And I save it, and then I go to Rodrigo's account, go to his um, history of previous addresses. Instead of typing that information again, if it's the same address, then I can just say copy from and then select them here, right? And that way I can just enter the dates and maybe modify any typos or whatever, but you don't have to retype the whole thing. Okay, now how do I link them together? Well, there's a section called members on the right hand side of the menu. Click members, and then you're going to click link. If you have the information in the system already, then you can search for it. So let's say Gabriela is the daughter. I can just select and select a relationship and click link, and that's easy. But because I already had her details in the system. But what if I don't? When I click link member and I don't have the information in the system yet, I create a new contact, but I'm not going to generate a number for them because this person is not a client. So I'm not going to generate a client number. I just uncheck the box or leave this blank, but I still need to create an account. Let's say they have another daughter and her name is Andrea, female, and create the contact. Select daughter and link. So now I have them together. And when I get to the forms, it's a lot easier for me to trust me. I'll show you right now. I know there's a question how to copy a case, how to copy a form. I'm going to show you as much as I can in 1 hour, like tricks that can save you so much time. Um, but yeah, you'll see. But this is a must. Linking the members. Don't take the shortcut because I've seen people who try to type data directly on the forms and they think, well, it's just one time. But no, not really, because then you have to do another form with the same date of birth, the same address. So you end up typing and retyping the same information again. So I think it's smarter for you to just link it, enter the data once. Okay. And again, you've seen the shortcut of copying. If I say copy from the mother's account, I don't have to retype the address and it will populate the forms. The way I've learned this, I guess, is like this profile is like the brain of the system where the data comes from. So that's how I kind of like know that this is the area where I need to enter data. Go always to the profile, enter, change, update, and make sure that the profile is updated. Okay. All right. So step one, we created the contact. Step two, we linked the members. And step three, we create the actual matter, the case. So when I create the case and select my location, the area of practice, the process, the type of program, all of these, you can customize all these drop-down menus, okay? And so my information as the attorney will transfer to the forms. Here's where I select the role, who's the petitioner, who's the beneficiary, the derivatives. Actually, let me use someone who has more realistic information because I don't think I have a lot of data with her. Whereas this one that I've used for 11 years, I do have a lot of data. Okay, so I've got the profile for my client. I have linked her family members, right? Even the joint sponsor or even the adverse party, so I can know that there's a conflict of interest. In step three, we create the case. And when we create the case, again, you're going to go through all these. I choose a process. I think it's easier if I just select the process. Um, I'm going to choose a defensive asylum. So all these, again, can be customized. If you guys use a system for non-immigration, which you can, so we do have clients that use it for translations or, you know, personal injury, criminal cases, anything, you can customize the categories. It's easier to run reports based on that data. Okay. Again, like I said, the attorney's information that's selected will transfer to the forms. And then here's where you choose the role. Not the same as linking the members, by the way. So this is where you select the petitioner, the beneficiary, the LEM, plaintiff, defendant, guardian, minor. So you choose the corresponding role. Now, if you are handling employment-based cases, remember this. Employer has to be linked as employer. Let me say that again. If it's employment-based, employer has to be linked as employer because that's how you choose the signatory and the branch. Whereas if you have a family-based case, then you can choose petitioner. Okay. Another recommendation is that you can choose alien instead of beneficiary just because the forms populate a lot faster instead of having to click on the name and the select party button. Okay, I don't have any conditional rules, so I'm going to continue and skip. Here's the list of forms, although I can always search a form um, by typing the number here. And I create the case. Okay, let me know if you have any questions at this point. Were those three basic steps clear to you? Let me know. Okay, so I've got more than 50% of the votes, so I'm just going to continue, okay? All right, so now that we created the case, then I'm going to click on the name of the person right here where it says main party because I like to open multiple tabs. Why? Because that way I have access to the profile. Remember, like the brain of the system. Well, I can access, make modifications, customize, and then go back to the form. Whereas if I don't open a second tab, I am kind of like, I don't know, stuck inside the form. There's no menu button. I would have to close and then go back to the menu. So I highly recommend that you guys open more than one tab. All right, so here on the left, it says alien info goes here. And this is the husband. It transferred his information. And if I need to make corrections, I can overwrite. Or if I made a mistake, I can restore the value, like undo. If I notice like, hey, I need to change his alien number, well, I can go to the other tab and simply switch to his profile, Francisco, so I can change his alien number right here. Let's change the alien number to 123 4 5 6 7 8. I don't know. So I'm going to save it, go back to the form, and refresh. How do I refresh? I use the select party button and I replace with his name. I'm basically just replacing the old with the new data. So now the correct alien number populates, right? And I don't have to keep changing that over and over and over again. So let's say I completed this form and I want to make a copy because I need another one for the wife. So I'm going to close this and wait. And I'm going to label it. See right here where it says edit, I can click edit and say this is for Francisco. And I'm going to make a copy. Select, copy. And it's not going to be for Francisco, it's going to be for Valeria. So now I save, open, and I can click on select party, replace, and click on her name. So if I click on her name, it transfers her data. So now this I-589 becomes her form. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about what I just did. And let me see what's going on. I see a question, but I don't read it. Can you link the father of the petitioner to the petitioner who's not the main party in the case? Can you link the father of the petitioner? Yeah, that's fine. So I would just go to, let's say this is a petitioner, Valeria, and I've got the father linked. If I didn't have the father linked, I'll just go to link member and create his contact and select father. So they are now linked as members. And then when I go to the case, let me just save and close. When I go to the case, doesn't matter if it's not the main party or not. You'll see that it's pretty flexible. Once you get the idea, it's going to be a lot easier. But let me show you. If you go to case parties on the right, case parties, and I click link, I can always link him to the case. Or he's probably not a party, like you said, he's not a main party in the case, but I need a form for the father. It's okay. I can just click copy. I'm going to call this Valeria's father form. And I'm going to open the form. Click. This is why I always joke and say these red select party buttons are my best friends because you can save, they save you so much time. So click select party, replace, and see this is the petitioners, and below I can see all the members. This is another reason why I recommend that you guys link them as members. He's already linked. So it doesn't matter if he's not a main party on the or not even a party in the case. I can just click on his name, and now I have an I-589 for the father. Look, Jorge's I-589. Thank you for the question. Some of these, by the way, are dynamic. So it says if different than the address in item 8. Well, it looks like it's a different, is it? No, it's the same. So I don't have to transfer the mailing address. Let me know if that was clear or if you have more questions. I know you sent an email, so I'm going to go over your questions as well. So thank you. Okay. I'm going to go over some of these features that you see on the black bar on top, the toolbar, because again, some of you are new users. I want to make sure that I show you here. Okay, let's open Valeria's form. Now you know how to use the select party button. So again, if I want to change something, let's say, hey, I want to change the street number and name. How about if we just enter the PO box, or I can just enter information here, but I don't want to change the profile. I can override, and if I override, it turns blue. Okay. Um, why is this showing on my screen? Okay. Number two, we have sticky notes or post-its. So if you click on the square, you can customize these. You can make them as big, small, change the color, font, size, everything. So I'll just say, please confirm this info. And I can leave my initial so we know who entered this note. I can share the form with my client so she can read my observations or questions and comments. And these post-its or sticky notes, they don't have to necessarily print when you're ready to print the form. Okay. Another reason why, another feature is this one called Type Anywhere. So I click on the keyboard, I move my mouse, and I can type anywhere. So I can move my mouse and literally enter data anywhere I want. A lot of attorneys use this instead of handwriting on the form, or instead of creating the addendum, they'll just add additional text. Okay. If you want to enter data, let's say I have information here. I'm just gonna copy paste this. Obviously, it exceeded the limit. Well, the system is developed to shrink it automatically and create the addendum. Okay. If you want to reduce it manually, click on the A that says change font, and you can change the size of the font. Let's say number 6 instead of 11. So it's still exceeding. So obviously you want this to be legible. So we don't recommend that you go too small. That's why it's just up to 6. But anyway, so the system will create the addendum. Now, speaking of the addendums, when you go to the last pages, know that we do have this edit additional entries where you can choose, well, out of all these, what do I need to transfer? Maybe not all of the addresses, just those. And we transfer the part, item, question number, all of that. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions at this point. Now remember to use the select the red buttons to refresh the data. Lastly, if you leave anything blank and you want to replace it with NA, you can use, it looks like a magic wand. Say, you know what? Okay, I want to replace blank spaces with NA, and it goes throughout the form and it replaces blank spaces. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna continue. Let me read that. I have a question related to forms, and it says, how do you know when a form is locked? Can you unlock a form, and if so, how? A form will be locked if you click on the lock. That's it. So if I say, you know what, let me lock this I-589 so that no one makes any changes to this form because it's ready, right? I don't want anyone to modify. So in fact, I can also leave a message, do not edit or, but what if I do want to modify or unlock it? Just click on that again. That's it. So click to unlock and click to lock. And that's how you know that it's locked because it's closed. See the difference? Um, can you add a new process to the list of processes via the admin portal? Yes, of course. The processes from the admin, you go to right here, case processes. And you know what? Instead of adding, even though we have this button right here on the left, I suggest that you insert, because if you add it, it goes all the way at the bottom of your list. Whereas if you click select insert, I can say, well, we're going to use this for translations, or, we're going to use the system for consultations or ESL classes or whatever you want to use it for. So just enter the name of the process, the area of practice, and then click save. And that way you can create a new process here. And let me just delete. Next question. Can you edit the title of a process? Yes, just click select, edit, and change the name here. Click save. That's how you change the name of the process. Just click select, edit. What else? Or should we create a new case when the process for the same client changes? Oh, I see what you mean. It says, for example, a client started out using the asylum process, but that process was changed later to AOS. We're using the same client profile and the same case. That's a great question. See, let me show you the difference. I've seen attorneys who create a contact. Obviously, that's the first step. Then they go to cases and they do, okay, let me create a case for adjustment of status. So that's that, right? But then they create a new case because it's now the naturalization case, or right, or like you said, it was asylum, now it's adjustment of status, or well, you could create multiple cases for the same person because you can see them here like in an umbrella, like you see everything associated to the same person. Or like you said, hey, we started with an asylum and then guess what? It turned out it was changed later to AOS. Well, I can go to general basic information for the case, and then you'll see here it says process update. So now instead of deleting, I'm just going to add anything related to adjustment of status. So whatever I had for asylum stays like that. I just want to add anything such as forms, process steps, documents related to this new process AOS. And I update the process. So technically, it's still the same case number. Keep in mind that if the case name or case number had the actual process, I would just change it to AOS. But anyway, so what I did, if you look at the forms that I did earlier, such as the I-589, stay there. But if I scroll down, now I see the G28, the I-130, I-45, 765. So it is kind of like a combo of both the asylum and the AOS in the same case. It's up to you. You can use the same case number, same profile for all of the forms. You just keep adding to it. You also notice that the documents, it started with, asylum, and then it adds to whatever documents we need for adjustment of status, or process steps are also like start with asylum, and then if I scroll down, then I'll see the steps for AOS. Okay. I think those were the only questions that you sent, but if you have any other questions, let me know. Okay. And thank you, by the way, for sending that in advance. All right. So let's continue going back to my PowerPoint presentation. We've talked about these, and now I'm going to show you how do I send these forms to clients to review it. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. So how do I send the forms so that I can review my client can review them? Well, if I go to the forms and say, Valeria, I want your father to review this form that we finished, let me select. And I have two options. Either I send the form as read-only PDF, as the name says, they can only read it, they can't edit, or I want them to access the form from their portal so they can change the form if needed. Again, it's really up to you, and you have both options. If I send it, oh, I need to unlock it. All right, so if I send it so they can edit, it goes out as an HTML. So I'll just say, please log in into your client portal. Valeria, here's the form for your dad. Make sure that you tell them this is this is Jorge's information because I put Valeria's father form, but I'm sending it to her since technically the father is not even a case party. So what happens is Valeria is going to log in because she has access to her client portal. She's going to access her mailbox and look at the form. So when we open it, or sorry, when she opens it, it's Jorge's I-589, and it turns out the social was incomplete. So she's going to enter it here and send it back. or print it. By the way, if they try to print the form to file on their own, guess what? It's going to say trial, or you can choose a watermark. It can say nice try, or but it can have a watermark here, like a stamp, like this one. Okay, that's a watermark. All right, so tell them to submit back to you. And when they send the form back, you get an email from us. And all you need to do is just like the questionnaires, just go here on the top right and you'll see the form. You need to open it. We're going to highlight the changes in red. You can click to see what was there before. So if I click, see, just visually speaking, I can see the changes because it's highlighted. If I click, it looks like she only had, or I only had 612. So the only disadvantage here is that anything that they enter stays just here on the form. I can't really populate the profile. So what I do normally is I'm just going to copy and paste it in the corresponding profile. In this case, we're talking about the father's, right? Alien number, what was it? So I'm going to Jorge's profile and it only had 612, remember? So let's take a look. Yeah, the social. So I'm just going to update it. So moving forward, I don't have to worry about that. Anyway, so all you do is when you get the form, you accept or reject. So I will accept because I want the form to be correct, and that's it. So that's how you send the form or a questionnaire to a client so they can review. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. How do I gather and store the documents, the evidence? Remember I told you that we have a documents checklist, which by the way, you can customize. It's a lot easier if you just select and share so your clients can upload from their devices from home. But if you want to scan and upload yourself, I recommend that you use a tool called Batch Upload. As the name says, you can upload multiple files at once, or you can just do here, select, edit, and upload from here. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me quickly show you what happens when the client gets that checklist. And now she knows, okay, I need to upload my birth certificate or I need my diploma, or so they can click upload. Actually, let me just drag and drop a couple of, they they upload the document and they're going to see the requests. So if this is my passport for case number 62, by the way, notice that it's JPEG. Okay. When she uploads the passport. My tongue gets Spanish and English twisted. Well, it says operation was successful. Let's close the window and let me show you what happens on your end. If you go to case 62 and we go to documents, it's uploaded as a PDF, right? So I like this feature because I can preview the image and confirm the quality is okay and acceptable, right? If I notice, hey, this is not correct, this is blurry, or I can just delete and ask the client to retake the picture, okay? But anyway, so now you guys know how to share the documents checklist. If you select and share with the client, have them log in into the client portal. Now, how do I know if they have access or not? Go to their contact profile, click on client access on the at the bottom of the menu on the right hand side. And if they do have access, it's going to say enabled. And this is a username or login name. If they tell you, I don't remember what the link or what the password or the login name is, just resend the credentials right here. You can change it to something simple like 1234. Here you go. Let me just send you the credentials. I love to use the templates because instead of sending this in English, I can have my own letter template that's in Spanish and it populates her name. I'm giving her the link and the username and password. So how do I create these templates? Go into your admin portal and click here, letter templates. Okay, this is where you can just add your template, and I also recommend that you use these tags so that it auto-populates the date and the name and whatever you want, the address, and how do I get those tags and where do I get them from? So here in the caseworker portal, under tools, you should see tag helper. So if I want to transfer or auto-populate the social security number, I can just click copy, go back, and paste it here. And it will populate the social right here. All right, I'm just gonna cancel. Let me know if you have questions about letter templates. Just keep in mind, I do have a video that I've linked to the PowerPoint. So don't forget to download my PowerPoint presentation before you disconnect today. All right, let's close this. And if I need to send that in Spanish, I can just send that email. Now, what happens with all those emails that we send? Do we get a copy or a proof that, nowadays if a client wants to complain, hey, here's a proof that I did send you notifications about, payments or like anything. Here's the one that I just sent, by the way. So it tells me the timestamp, who sent it, what day, what message, everything. So if the client says, no, I never got it. Yes, I sent you a text message yesterday to this number, and this is the questionnaire link. So I highly, highly recommend that you use the system just to have evidence that you did notify the client, right? And what day, what time. So there's always proof. Okay. Next, okay, I see. Document assembly. What is that? The document assembly, assuming that we've got the forms and the cover letters and the evidence, and now we're ready to put together the package. Then I go to document assembly and I create a package. So let's say adjustment of status. I have the forms ready. I move them here. The documents, I move them here. The letters, I select and move by clicking on this icon. So now I can drag and say, I want the passport here. I want the birth certificate here. I want the cover letter here. So now I have exactly what I need, and the system helps me with the table of contents. The page numbers update accordingly, and I can create a whole PDF with everything with the footer caption and the numbering. This is going to save you so much time. So I suggest that you try this document assembly. And again, if you want to watch the video, click on my PowerPoint presentation once you download it, and it will take you to the user's guide. Okay, let's continue. How do I create a reminder? Okay, the reminders are available in both the case and the contact window. If I create a reminder for this specific case, in this example, an adjustment of status, how about if we need to, I don't know, we have a court date and maybe not for this type of case, but we have a deadline. Now, remember, this can be customized. I actually have examples here. I think I do like Spanish. Recordatorio, oh, like this one, entregar documentos para caso de divorcio. Like you can customize them for different areas, not just immigration. But anyway, so let's say that we need to check the documents and update the list and making sure like everything looks fine. So I want to get an email notification if the reminder or the update where we have to check the documents is due on June 7th. Well, I want the system to send me an email and a text message on June 6th at 8 a.m. or 8:30. Who's responsible to do this update for the documents checklist? Me. But I also want the client to be aware, so I'm gonna send her a text message and an email. So my client gets the notification a day before in case she hasn't uploaded her evidence yet. So I'll just, hey, this is a reminder. We need you to please upload blah, blah, blah. Or maybe I should have picked this one, documents checklist. So anyway, so now I created a reminder. I know who's responsible, when this is due, and all these reminders that you create, as well as the expiration dates for, let's say, her passport or I-94, visa, RFEs, anything, EADs, anything you can think of, all these expiration dates are tracked in these in this dashboard. The dashboard called Tickler, think of it like your helicopter view, I guess, where you can see, hey, what's going on with this organization or my law firm? What's our priority? Like, I know we have all these tasks and all these reminders, or at least I have them, but let me see or show data for all my caseworkers. What it looks like in the next 20 days, we've got these items. And it tells you, this is the one that we just created probably. Yes. So it's due June 6th. And it shows the email, by the way. Or we have a meeting on the 19th, a court date. Well, I can see the reminders, I can see the expiration dates. So it's a great tool because you can track your staff's productivity level, like what's a priority. I can delegate easily. I can see the expiration dates, or if you have billing, you may also check your accounts receivable aging. These invoices are past due 30, 60, 90 days. So I highly recommend that you guys use the tickler and obviously take advantage of the customizations, like, process steps. These tasks or to-do lists, you can modify them, and this is how you can delegate what we need to do, when we need to do it, and who's doing it. And that way you can see when they click complete, you can see exactly if it says end date, that means that we finished doing this task today. Okay. All right. So I know some of you have questions about reports, so I'm going to go over that. The question was, let me read. Give me one quick second. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you a question. Mm, well, do you guys have any questions at this point? Okay, I'm waiting for the rest of the participants to vote. Um, it looks like I've got the majority of you saying no, you may continue. So I will continue. And let me just make sure that you guys can see my screen again. All right, so I'm going to read some of the questions that you sent when you registered. And one of them was process steps, which I already covered. Beginner just looking to learn how to best use all tools. Beginning, I'm new. Basic report running. Okay, so this one was, how do I run a basic report? Go to the left where it says search standard reports, and you have client related, case related reports, and billing in case you are registered to billing. But let's say I want to run a report for cases. I want to know if we have any overdue process steps. So if I run the report, say, give me anything that's pending maybe since January of this year and maybe for the next week, it will give me the case number and the employer or applicant, and I can just click on the link and see what was the actual task and the due date. Okay, so that's a report that you can, by the way, export to PDF, Excel, or HTML. How about a report that shows how many cases each paralegal has? So if I don't select anything, it will give me every single report. Or maybe I just want to see I want to see cases for Vanessa that were they're active cases that were created this year. So I'm just gonna choose from January until today. Looks like I've done 127 cases this year so far. So again, I can see the date creation, the date stamp and everything, which is the one we just did today, and I can click on the link. So that's a basic report running. Again, you can export to PDF or Excel. I highly, highly recommend that you guys consider custom reports. Why? Because you can schedule the report. Once you create the report, you may schedule it and save so much time. Let me see. Report features and better ways to track case developments. I think better ways to track case developments would be definitely use the process steps, because that's something that you can customize and you can track. By the way, you can do load more data and go straight to process steps. So this is how you can track the case development, because I know, all right, we've sent the agreement and I need to send a reminder to the client. I've got the agreement. I need to process 50% down payment. So again, it is the best way to track, and remember to use the tickler so that you know, hey, how many of these process steps are due soon. Basic use, anything is helpful. I've never used Cerenade before. How to populate forms. Oh, it says how to copy a case. Okay, let me quickly show you that, and then we can finalize the webinar today. How do I copy a case? Remember we did the asylum case earlier that we turned into adjustment of status. Okay, let's use a different, I'm gonna use, do I even have, okay, let's say this TPS. I've got this TPS case and I want to make a copy. So I click select copy. Maybe it's not gonna be for Smith Lee. I'm just gonna call this for Maria Guzman. Remember we had another client, so I don't want to do the whole thing again. Now remember, hold on, before I copy, let me show you the case. This case TPS for Smith Lee has forms that I worked on. Okay, so if I did the work on, let's say, the A21, especially for TPS, asylum, or I-485, all these that you may need to type information, like if it's the same, maybe the same country or the same reason why they request asylum or TPS, like, I don't know, you get it. I don't want to retype the same information over and over again. Trying to find a page, eligibility standards, criminal offenses. So like, by the way, we have a feature in the administrator portal. It's called form defaults, so that if you don't want to answer all these manually, it can automatically have them by default. So it's going to save you so much time. All of these instead of doing answering manually. Yep, all of these. Trying to find. Okay, I'm just going to use another example. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to enter here Peru as a test and save it. Close this. That was page 2 of the A21. Okay, let's say I want to make a copy of the entire case. Then I go to General Basic Info, Copy Case. Again, this is not going to be for Valeria Smith anymore, but Maria Guzman. And I need to copy all case forms. So I'm going to save this case, and it is now the asylum or TPS or whatever. I can always update. If I go to the forms, it's the same thing that I did, right? The same work, but I don't want the case parties. So I don't need these two anymore. This is a new case for a different party. So I'm going to unlink, and I am going to link the correct parties, which is Maria Guzman. I think it was this one. And then Elian, and link her. She's the main party. When I go to the forms, and I open the form that I worked on, obviously because I made a copy, it has the same information for the previous parties. So when you click select, replace Maria, now this A21 becomes Maria's information. But the rest of the data that I populated stays intact. So I typed manually Peru, and I don't want to retype it again. But again, just imagine it could be a whole paragraph or explanation why they're running from their country of birth, or like, so you can save so much time by copying the entire case and just replacing the case parties, and just make sure that everything that you overwrite stays intact. You would have to either cancel the field. So if I say, you know what, it's not Peru, or I don't want to use that value, let me just overwrite so I can. Actually, I noticed that there was something that was over in, I think it's a social security number. Let me see on page one, because I saw, okay, like the alien, sorry, no, the USCIS online account. I don't know why it was blue. But anything that you overwrite and it's blue, you can always restore the value. Okay? Okay, we're almost done. Let me just show you resources and support. Call us if you have questions Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time. That's our phone number, except on holidays. Or email us for technical support. You may also click on your home screen where it says technical support and send us your messages, as well as your feedback to developers. We have a user's guide, and we do these trainings for free on Fridays at 10 a.m. We also have a podcast called Cerenade Snacks and a Facebook forum page, as well as a YouTube channel, as I mentioned before. Don't forget to subscribe. And these are links that you can click on to learn more about translations or timekeeper, the tag helper that I talked about today. This is the one that I was telling you how to request the documents via a passwordless link. Anyways, we have e-filing so that you can file the forms online, but also import data from the CBP website, such as the I-94s and the entries. We have new features like the summarizer and the extractor. These are the training topics we have scheduled for the month of June. And you know what? I forgot to say this, but we don't have one on June 14. This was canceled because we are going to be present at the AILA conference this year. All right, so let me know if you have any questions before you disconnect. Don't forget to download my PowerPoint presentation. And after you disconnect, there's going to be a survey. If you can please answer that. And let me know before you go if your questions were addressed during the webinar. If you have to disconnect, thank you so much on behalf of Cerenade for attending this training today, and have a great weekend. Thank you for those who voted. I appreciate your feedback. Again, thank you so much for using eIMMIGRATION. Oh, thank you. My pleasure. You're very welcome. You too. Have a great weekend. All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.